All right, good morning.
Good morning.
You're in the seminar Alaska and beyond. My name is Kevin Hagerty, and I'm with a company called MotoQuest. And this is my partner, Dax Harlow. Dax runs our Portland facility. I don't do anything. I sit on my tail in St. Louis and come out and cause trouble when we're required. Let me tell you a little bit about our company. First of all, who knows of MotoQuest? Oh, wow. Wow. How many people have taken a trip with us? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. How many people have rented from us? Okay, there you go. I'm going to give you the commercial real quick, right up front, and then we'll jump into it. We're a 26-year-old motorcycle tour and rental company. We are headquartered in Anchorage, Alaska. Our center of operations is in Long Beach, California, and we have a satellite facility that operates 12 months around the clock, or 12 months a year in Portland, which Dax runs. We have 100 late model BMW GSs, that's all we rent. 750s, well, I don't know, 800s, 900s, and whatever they are now. The small Papa Bear, Kid Bear, and Granny Bear GSs up and down those corridors. You can fly in, rent from us, and ride anywhere between any of our locations without any funky drop-off fees or any of that nonsense. And we come out to do these things mainly because we want to encourage you to ride the bikes that you buy all over the world. In addition to having 100 rental bikes here in the U.S., we do guided, supported tours in 26 different countries currently. So we're not new at this. There's a lot of companies that you can get to sell you a tour. The key is finding a company that has a fleet of motorcycles, because anything other than that, you're getting somewhere, you're in a middleman situation. And I'm going to give you a rule of thumb that it matters not if you're talking with MotoQuest, Ayers Adventures, Edelweiss, IMT, or Adriatic, it makes no difference. If you put in the back of your head a figure of $700 US a day, you're going to be in the ballpark for anybody's guided supported tour. And that typically includes lodging, insurance, bike, support vehicle, and guide. So other than that, we're going to move on. So we're going to talk a little bit about today. This is Alaska and beyond. We're going to spend a lot of time in Alaska. I have a lot of information. Somebody already said they were planning on going up. I've got some information for that. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about Baja, Peru, and Japan. Peru and Japan are two of my favorite destinations, and we'll talk about that a little later. If you have any questions, sing out. As a disclosure, I never let facts get in the way of a really good story, so there's that. And I'm part historian, part comedian, and full-time Irish bullshitter. So, welcome. I did that. Has everybody filled in a sign-up sheet? You want to be on that list because we're going to give away some stuff at the end of the presentation. You guys need, okay. All right, Vanna will be with you. All right, so I entered out, trip preparation advice, provide helpful resources and shared experience. Questions relevant to the current slide are welcome. If not, please wait, and it might be on the other side, and we'll have a Q&A after. In addition to that, we're located in the hall. We're at if you go out in the door this way, we're on the far right, down toward the end. And we've got 4 people here today. Dax is from Portland, I'm from St. Louis, Brendan's from Denver, and Neil is from Minneapolis, and we have all spent time in Alaska running our facilities there. So, we'll move on. Who is MotoQuest? 1998. Okay, I already did that. Okay, move on. From our, it is important from Anchorage, we do all of Alaska, Yukon. From Portland, we do BC, the Pacific Northwest, and the central coast of California. And from Long Beach, we do all of Baja, the American Southwest, and the California coast. All right, this is why we ride in Alaska. X, please. These are some of the scenes. Anybody know where that is? I like that. Who said that? You're going to get a prize for that. You get one of the coveted MotoQuest buffs. Here you go.
Well, my wife's here. I just get told to shut up.
Next. You don't see views like this anywhere else around here. Okay. Planning materials. This is a book co-written by our founder, Philip Freeman. It's called The Adventurous Motorcyclist Guide to Alaska. When it first came out, it was very relevant. Today, not so much. There's still good information, but everything in the North Country since COVID has changed. Everything. Things people thought they knew before just don't apply any longer. But it's still a great resource. Next. This is invaluable. Butler ramp for Alaska. We're going to give away a couple here today, but this is what they look like, and they do a great job. We actually helped them do this about 10 years ago, which helped everybody. Okay? Milepost. This is a mile-by-mile directory of what exists on the Alcan between Dawson Creek and actually all the way to Delta Junction. And it isn't as, even though they do their best to update this regularly, again, things are changing so quickly in the North Country that a lot of that is not as relevant as it used to be. Next. Okay, how to get to Alaska? You can fly. You can ride, like these people did. Or you can take the Alaska Marine Ferry out of Bellingham. Not a cheap option, but one that works. You can ship your bike. Classic Motion is a company in Anchorage that'll receive and crate and ship back. Again, not the best option in terms of money, but if you're one of those few guys like Dax that money's no problem at all for what we pay them, then that's a viable option. Next. This used to be the world headquarters of MotoQuest. It's a shed in the parking lot of the Harley-Davidson dealer. Who here has been there? There we go. We moved this year. We were there for almost 20 years, by the way. Anyway, next. Okay, what kind of motorcycles? Okay, the truth is you can ride any motorcycle in Alaska. You ride Harleys, you can ride Hondas, you can ride. We choose BMW because of the way it's suited for what our customers tend to put our motorcycles through. Next. But you can ride a Harley-Davidson. You know, I used to be that guy that said, you know, if you were enthralled with 1949 Maytag technology, you're going to love a new Harley-Davidson. I'm not quite that way anymore. You can ride this scooter. I had a guy pulled into the shop in Anchorage probably about 10 years ago, Robert Shearson, and he was riding a Honda Grom, and he had a Slave tank, plastic tank. I asked him, and he was wearing a yellow slicker. I said, where are you coming from? Denver. I said, what? He said, yeah, I've been 6 weeks on the road. And I said, Robert, I said, how fast will that Grom go? He said, He says on the flats, man, he says 32, maybe 34 if I'd tuck. You know, he says uphill down to 18, downhill up to 42. So I told him, I said, Robert, you realize a full-grown grizzly can run up to 40 miles an hour? And as God is my witness, this is what he said. Oh, I know, Kevin. He says, but I take an angle on him. Anyway, next. So let's ride north to Alaska. We have a tour that leaves Dax's facility in the fall, and we run north through British Columbia and the Yukon. And this is some of the wildlife. I will tell you this, in mid-May, on the road between the U.S. border and Anchorage, you'll see more wildlife than you'll see in your local zoo in mid-May. Lots of these guys, a few of those cute little guys. These guys come down off the hill and they'll just stand there and watch you ride your bike by. Well, I think we were trying to milk that guy. Lots of these guys. That time of the year, bears are literally coming out of their hibernation. They're rolling down the hills. They're inquisitive. They don't know quite what's going on yet. They're looking to eat anything. Destruction Bay. These guys have come down all day long just to visit. Cute little fella. There's another cute little fella. Anybody know who this is? This is Brendan Anders. He was here. You here, Brendan? No. He's the CEO of MotoQuest, Brendan. Keep going. And that's our fearless founder, Phil Freeman. And this is, I'm not sure who's dumber, Phil or this guy. But these things can weigh up to 8. People are concerned about bears in Alaska. This is what you need to be worried about right here. This guy can weigh up to 1,800 pounds, can go down, dive into a lake, stay down there for 3 minutes, 30 feet below, chewing a base of reeds, and then surface like a submarine. And when you go to Wrangell St. Elias Visitor Center, they have a display of pelts of all the animals in the park and also skulls. And if you compare the brain pocket for an 1,800-pound bull moose and a bald eagle, they're really close. Just so you know. Go ahead. You can get those burgers down at Chitina. Yeah. I don't know why. Dogs, we got those too in Alaska. Some are friendly. Some are decide whether they're friendly. Okay. If you're going to rent, you want to book out at least 6 months, 12 if you're really sure. If you're riding up and you're going to spend time in Anchorage, in Alaska, prepare some tires. You can ship them to our shop, which we don't do outside work, but if you show up on a Friday with a 12-pack and a $20 bill, you'd be amazed what might happen. So, or Fairbanks. Make sure you get your international phone charge things going. Hotels and resort reservations 6 months, and honestly, that's not. These guys are planning on going next year. If you know your route, and I'm happy to help you with that stuff, you want to make reservations in lodges this year for next year. As I mentioned, everything is changing in the North Country due to COVID. Lodges that used to be open are no longer. Fuel. You'll pull into a fuel stop and you'll prepare your route based on getting fuel at a particular place, and you'll pull in there and they'll tell you, oh yeah, we sell fuel. The truck comes on Tuesday and it's Thursday. And they're happy to rent you a room or let you camp for a fee. By the way, lodging in the North Country, and when I say North Country, primarily northern BC, the Yukon, and Alaska, they range from luxurious to disappointing. They're the same money, okay? And disappointing can be very welcoming depending on the weather. So make sure you, and if you're going to get service on a bike in Anchorage, there's several bike shops that are open during the season. BMW shop, the motorcycle shop is the BMW dealer. Don Rosine and those boys, make sure you, because they're booked out during the season. So if you're going to plan on servicing, call them way ahead. Banks and credit cards, you'll want to make sure you got that squared away so they don't decline your stuff in the middle of the night when you're standing in a place like Eagle Bend or whatever. Okay. You want, make sure you're ready for entering Canada. They used to have, just after COVID, they had an Arrive Can app you used to have to fill out to get in. I don't think that system is in place anymore, but it was pretty cumbersome for a while. Next. Passport or those little travel cards that get you into Canada and Mexico will work. Valid driver's license, passport, insurance, registration. They want original copies of registration, which is a problem for a company like ours that rents motorcycles. So we have a really good copier, and we copy them, and then we went down to Office Depot, and for 99 cents, we bought a little rubber stamp that said original, and we just stamp them. And it really works in Mexico. Canada, every once in a while, they get a little suspect. Okay, go in, yeah. Bring copies of your registration, make sure your insurance card is up to date. They will stop you at the border for that stuff, by the way. Okay, the Alcan has more service gas stations, hotels, restaurants, shops, and a hot springs. Cassier, which is the other way, a little more adventurous, has fewer of all of those things. What you don't want to do, for obvious reasons, if you're less than a half a tank, don't pass gas. Don't pass an open fuel station where you see them pumping, because you'll get, 150 miles up the road and you won't find it, or they'll be closed, or they're waiting. This is typical in the North Country, especially if you're going to go up early in the season. Many of these lodges, like I said, first of all, you won't find a lodge anywhere on the Alcan that isn't for sale for the right price. That's number one. Number two is many of those that have been there for decades, that are mom and pop operated, they depend on the revenue, and they may not have the cash to fill the tanks early in the season. They have to get some revenue from lodging before they can afford to gas up the tanks. Some of them, So I mean, that's a valid concern these days.
Question on this one.
Yeah.
Which of those is the Alcan, which is the Cassier?
The one on the left is the Cassier. Alcan is the red one. Okay. North Alaska, Alcan to Fairbanks. Okay, so these are some photos. That is the beginning of the Alcan, is in Dawson Creek. And there's a big sign right there, tells you there, world's famous Alaska Highway. You can take a picture there, kind of required, Okay, that's the Alaska Highway. And again, these are more critters up there. What's interesting is this time of the year, you can see this is spring, and that's when they start calving the buffalo. And buffalo are typically pretty docile. But when you're around their offspring, not so much. I was riding up one year, we were leading a group, and I came around a corner, and there was a big buffalo, and he was crossing the road at about a 45. And I thought, I'm just going to swing out around him because he's a lot slower than me. Then I noticed 4 little feet underneath him, right? And as I started to go around, this big buffalo, he stopped, he turned his head at me, and he went. Now, I'm a dumbass from Missouri, but even I knew what that meant. I just spun that KLR around, went back the other way, and let him go. Anyway, go ahead. This is Laird Hot Springs, a great place to stop. There is a lodge there. Again, this is one of those smaller lodges that if you plan on staying there, call them ahead of time. You know, make sure you get a room, because you can walk across from there. It's literally across the Alcan, across the highway, and this is just a fantastic place to get about a week's worth of road dust off you and just, you know, relax in those hot springs. Right. Okay. I'm going to give something away for this. One of my favorite questions. What am I going to give away? I'm going to give away a copy of the book. Somebody tell me why that bridge has a wood deck. I got a book. Go ahead.
So it can handle the contraction and expansion of the change in weather over time?
That's a good reason. Come on. You guys are... They have plenty of wood. That's actually not true. We don't have plenty of wood up there. Yes, sir. Partly. You're on the right track. Go ahead. What? I can't hear you. That's it. Sort of. Understand that the Alcan and the Dalton are critical to the infrastructure of this country. Trucks in the winter can't get traction with steel, with chains on a steel deck. Here you go. But they can on wood, on oak. When you cross it's a little farther up. Go next, Dax, please. All right, Yukon, larger than life. Next. Anybody know where that is? Huh? Yeah, Watson Lake. Watson Lake. It's about 3 acres. They encourage you to bring a sign from your local thing. You know, you might want to wait till the evening before you pull it down from where you are, because sometimes the municipalities take a dim view of you stealing their signs, but they're from all over the world up in there. This is why we ride. Muncho Lake. These slides do not do that lake justice. All right, I'm going to give away Alaska map. I'll tell you what. I'll give away a MotoQuest hat. These are hard to get. You got to pay money. Who can tell me why the lake is that color? Minerals from? Glacier silt. There it is. They're glacial fed. That's the answer. Okay, next. Okay, welcome to Alaska, gateway to 49th state. This is over Skagway, overlooking the town. Anybody know where that is? There you go, Dawson. They have a non-rally rally every summer solstice in Dawson, the place where Gold Rush and stuff, those places are got. And what they do is they take over this town of Dawson and they have motorcycle biker games that begin at midnight. This photo was taken at midnight. And it's kind of, you know, you find one of the local women to jump on the back, and you go through slow racing, or they'll bite a hot dog off of a fishing pole, that kind of stuff. And and they have a big dinner at the Diamond Lil's Steak Saloon. Those tickets are hard to get, but it's the biggest non-rally rally in this area, and they'll get thousands of guys that converge on Dawson on the summer solstice. This is the top of the World Highway, which is the dirt road that leads across the Canadian border down into Dawson, and you cross the Yukon on a city-owned ferry. It's free, but that's a great ride. And it goes through the little town of next.
How far is that?
Huh?
How long is that?
Top of the world's probably, part of it's paved at the early end. It's about 120 miles, something like that. This is Santa Claus Village, right outside of Fairbanks. Parks Highway. All right, I'm going to give away. The Parks Highway is the main thoroughfare in the state of Alaska between Anchorage and Fairbanks. Anybody know why it's named Parks Highway? Huh? I hear that a lot. Anybody know? Huh? No. General George S. Parks. It just happens to be in front of, being we're speaking of parks, all right, I'm going to give away something cool. What do you guys think is cool? Maps or books? All right. All right, I'm going to give away a map for this one. Yeah, exactly. Who can tell me the name of the largest national park in the United States? This guy said it first. Who said Wrangell's back here? Okay, you get a map. Wrangell St. Elias is the largest park in the United States. Most park rangers don't even know it. Okay, you're welcome. I'm sorry. And just to give you some perspective, the park, just the park, is bigger than the country of Switzerland with taller mountains. In the confines of Wrangell St. Elias are 9 of the tallest peaks on the North American continent. Yet most people have never seen it, believed it, even know of it. Also, as a point of information, Wrangell St. Elias bumps up against Kluane National Park in Canada, which is the second largest national park in all of Canada. The two of them intersect Glacier Bay Natural Wildlife Preserve. Those 3 parcels, Wrangell, Kluane, and Glacier Bay, form the largest natural wildlife habitat on the face of the planet. Much bigger than anything in Africa, that Okefenokee thing, bigger than any of that. Okay, so we got that. You guys like the maps? Ooh. All right, next, please. This is riding. Anybody know what that is? When do you see it? That is partly true. What? Well, wait, who? There you go. This is the predominant vegetation that occurs naturally after fires take place. Now, let's talk about Alaska a little bit, because it's one of my, who said that? You're welcome. Alaska is big enough to put Texas in it 2.5 times, all right? Just let that sink in for a second. Matter of fact, most Alaska's idea of claustrophobia is getting stuck in Texas, all right? Right. Now, so we know now that the size of the state is 2.5 that of Texas. Who can tell me, and I'll give away, or am I going to give away? I'll give away a book. And this is like The Price is Right, okay? Whoever gets closest without going over, all right? Who can tell me what the population in 2025 state of Alaska? 450. How many? 450. 550. 2. 380. 750. Huh? Okay. populates the state of Alaska. I heard somebody close. Huh? 620. Somebody said, huh? He's been on Prices Right. Who's the guy? Somebody yelled 7 something back there. Huh? No, he's on Google. That shit, huh? What'd you say? 750? No, somebody yelled something 7 something back here. Who was it? All right, I'm going to give it to 750, even though he's over. It's 741,000, and the population of the state is actually on the increase, which it had been declining most of the last decade. All right, next, please. Oh, we are on that. There it is. There it is. 20,600 and something feet. It's so tall, that's Denali, by the way, that it creates its own weather patterns. What? There you go, McKinley. Yeah. 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 The big mountain. Montagnana. So big that it creates its own weather pattern. You can be as close to it from here to the other end of this fairground, that close, and not see it 70% of the time. It only uncovers itself and clears up 30% of the time. Okay? So if you get what we call a bluebird day up there, it's spectacular. And when it is, you can see it from Anchorage, which is 200 and something miles away. All right. Yeah. It's just fog. It shrouds itself in fog. It's rare in the summertime, right? In the summer, correct. And winter. Yeah. All right, here you go. There's the entrance into the park itself. The honest to God truth of the matter is, it's a, I hate to use the term tourist trap, but that's what it is. They have what we refer to as Glitter Gulch, which is right outside the gate. You can buy some mucklucks made in China and a sub sandwich, and you can only ride into the park 12 miles. There is a bus that you can get on and pay a fee, and you still only go 20-something miles. Really, if you want to see Denali, come with us, and we'll take you down Petersburg Road, and you come around the back side. It's about a 50-mile ride, but we'll get you into Denali. You might have to boot a few bears, but anyway, go ahead. Oh, this is one of my favorite slides. Anybody seen this? Yeah, it's an igloo. It used to be a gas station and a hotel. That was built for by some entrepreneur, promising guy out of Fairbanks. But he got up there and he was having a grand opening and stuff, and the borough commander came around and said, "Where's your occupancy permit?" He said, "What?" And it's been like that for 40 years now. Anyway, next. Welcome to beautiful Talkeetna. Talkeetna is the jumping off place if you're going to climb Denali, if you want to take a float plane trip, if you want to land on the glacier, that's where they do this out of. It's a very historic town, lots of tourism stuff there. The Susitna River comes right to the edge of Talkeetna, which is the river that runs past Denali, part of it, the Tanana too. Okay, next. And that's the Fairview Inn. It's historic, and the reason I know that, it says so right there. Historic Fairview Inn. Okay. That is the Susitna River Valley, or Susitna River, and that is looking from the edge of Talkeetna to the Alaska mountain range with Denali, and that's what they look like when they're showing. And that's about 60 miles away. Here's, you can jump on a plane, they'll land you on a glacier, on Denali. Again, this is why we ride up there. I don't know why we got these, but that's beautiful. We got ice cream in Anchorage. There's the ice cream shop. See, Rochelle's. See, got nice cones. That's the world headquarters used to be. And that's the Harley dealer, Dia Matson. Her father started it. He used to be a plumbing supply guy who owned a Harley and got angry because he couldn't get parts, so he called up Harley and bitching. And they said, well, you want to be a dealer? And he said, what's it take? And all of a sudden, House of Harley was born. 40 years later, he sold it to Dia. Anyway, and then he up and died. This is Alaska leather. If you're going to Alaska and you forgot the kind of things that adventure rider people do, have, these people cater to adventure. Matter of fact, they've been at the MOA before. They sheepskin seat covers and all that kind of stuff. But they've got all the climb equipment that you need and parts and shields and face masks, all the stuff that we adventure riders need. Okay, this is an interesting slide. Anybody know what that is? It is a lake. If you look very closely, right in the center of the slide, in the foreground, is a little thing that sticks up, looks like a tree. That's the control tower for Anchorage International. Let me see. Spam. Huh, who knew? That's the control tower for Anchorage International. This is Lake Hood. It used to be about 2 blocks from our old headquarters. There are more flights in and out of on this lake in the month of July than there are O'Hare International. Let that sink in for a second. More flights on a daily basis than O'Hare on this lake. Alaska, they are the flyingest people per capita on the face of the earth because of its size. And that's before you even go around the corner to the bush pilot guys who are on rubber tires. These are just lake guys. Okay. That's the motorcycle shop. Triumph, Triumph, Kawasaki's, BMWs, Ducati, what else? Yeah. No, he ain't got Hondas. Anyway, next. This is the booming metropolis of Anchorage. Keep going. Cook Inlet. Kenai Peninsula, Seward, and Homer. These are two of the places that you go down the Kenai Peninsula south of Anchorage. The road splits, and if you go left, you go to Seward. You go right, you go to Homer. Homer is the halibut fishing capital of the world, and Seward is where you find all of the ships dock. This is that is the only road down the Kenai Peninsula, and that's the Cook Inlet that you're looking across. I forget the name of those white things. The Doll sheep will literally come down off and they'll stand in the highway. This is the Seaview Cafe. This is a little Russian fishing village of Hope down the Kenai Peninsula. And to the left of this, that's out of this shot, is a river that when the king salmon are running, you can't spit on the ground in this place. It's so full of people and RVs and stuff. It's just amazing. Next. And that looks back off the deck of Hope. To the left is that river where the kings run, and that is the Cook Inlet, and at the base of that mountain is that road we saw, just to give you some perspective. Seward. There's some halibut. That's Seward by air. That's at the corner, yeah. This is actually off the back of Dom's dock. Anyway, go ahead. Kenai Lake. Anchor Point, North America's most westerly highway point. Homer, yeah, halibut fishing, capital. There you go. That's a big fish. That is what's called the Homer Spit. And if you go all the way out to the end of it, there's a little hotel there called the Land's Inn. Very expensive, but it's worth the night if you want to have just a real Alaska kind of thing with your significant other. That's the Salty Dog Saloon, chipped tooth, busted pool cues, and T-shirts. The Glen Highway. This several times has been on AAA's top 5 or top 10 most scenic highways in America. This road runs from Anchorage through past Matanuska Glacier, through Caribou Creek, Taslina Glacier, and all the way to Copper Center. And it's just a fantastic visual experience. Go ahead. That's some of our crack guides. This is on the Glen Highway. That's actually out at Sheep Mountain. And that is Matanuska Glacier. Let's stop for a second because we're talking glaciers. I'm going to give away a map. Okay? Who can tell me how many glaciers there are in Alaska? No Googling.
10,000.
Go ahead.
56.
What did he say? What did you say, 1,000? 10,000. You're going to get the map, even though you aren't even close. There's over 100,000 glaciers in the state of Alaska. 616 are big enough to have names. Okay? Excuse me. And the other thing, there's a misnomer that all glaciers are retreating. They're not. Most are, and the overall loss is significant, but not all glaciers are receding. Some are actually moving and expanding. So but yes, we didn't sort of talk about that. I'm going to give away a book for this one. We all know that Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes, right? Right? I mean, that's their claim to fame. How many lakes do you think there are in the state of Alaska? Before you answer, let me just help you a little bit. Remember, it's 2.5 times the size of Texas. 200,000, 500,000, 600,000, 1.5 million. Huh? 1.2. There are over 3 million lakes bigger than 5 acres in the state of Alaska. Didn't you? 40% of the United States' recreational waterways exist in the state of Alaska. 40% of the country's. Not always. All right, next, please. All right, there is Matanuska Glacier. You can ride down to it. Take a picture. That's a yak. You can get that burger at Chitna. The Richardson Highway is the road this is where the Alcan terminates at Delta Junction, and then the Richardson runs actually from Valdez all the way to Fairbanks. And that's some of the awesome, these slides don't give it's just, the enormity is amazing when you get there.
Is that paved the whole way?
Yes. Matter of fact, let's talk about that. I can show you once you get out of Anchorage 50 miles past Wasilla, which is essentially a suburb of Anchorage, essentially. From Wasilla north, I can put together for you an 1,100-mile paved route that you'll go through that many stoplights. 5 in 1,100 miles. Nowhere else in the country can you do that. Right. There's only 4 main highways in the state, okay? Paved main thoroughfares, there's 4, all right? You won't get yourself lost. You can get your dumb ass in a lot of trouble, but you'll know exactly where you are. Okay? That brings up another point. If you happen to be on a tour with us or renting from us and you get yourself in trouble, we will get you out. Understand that we have been operating in the state of Alaska for over 25 years. There's places we have parts caches and people that, that we can rely on and do stuff that most people cannot. I'm not saying it's free, but we'll get you out. Yes, sir.
So you got all the asphalt riding, but is some of your tours 50%?
Great question. Most of our tours are on road.
100% asphalt.
Most of them. And if they say backcountry or explorer, there'll be some portion of dual sport riding. We used to go in the backcountry on single track stuff. No longer, for a variety of reasons. But if you join, we used to do an Alaska backcountry, and it's an awesome tour. So unless you're doing those, and it's kind of like I love these people that come up because they're going to do a backcountry route, and they got waterproof everything. And I'm here to tell you, there's only one thing in the world that's waterproof. It's your skin. And even after a while, it gets waterlogged. So, anyway, next. More fireweed. Who knows the name of that glacier? See, I knew that was too much. All right, I'm not going to penalize anybody. That's Isabella Glacier. That's at the end of the Denali Highway. Okay, Man's Pipe. We'll talk a little bit about it. I'm going to give away a hat. Who can tell me? I got a map for the next one. Who can tell me the length of the Alaska pipeline? Scream them out. How many? 3,000. 1,000. 1,600. 1,300. Huh? 1,700. 1,250. 3,000. 2,500. 6,000. 4,000. Everybody is over, is too high. Yeah. So let's start again. Round 2. 300. 1 mile. Huh? No, he's not over. 1,000. 800. 850. 450. This man's right on the money. It's actually 800.5 miles long. It runs from the oil fields in Prudhoe Bay all the way to Valdez. Valdez, by the way, is, you can go to Valdez and get a t-shirt that says Valdez, a quaint little drinking town with a fishing problem. It's kind of, throw that in. So, the map. So now we know it's 800 miles long, right? Tell me how many gallons a day of crude flow through the pipeline. 1,060. 3 billion. Huh? 1.5 what? 1.5 million? Hold on. Gallons. 5 million. Because I sat up all night Googling this shit. All right. Who was the highest? Who was the highest? You were? What'd you say? What'd you say? 3 billion. Yeah, you're over. He's over. You're closest. He's closest. 19,500,000 and something thousand 643 gallons a day flow through that thing when it's running. That was number from 2024, by the way. Well, that pipeline, look at how big around it is, man. Yeah. And they have, there are several places along, there's 11 pump stations that were built that pump that crude. Only 4 actually operate. The others are in ready reserve because, and that brings up another point. Oh, well, maybe we're getting to it. Let's just move on. Okay, that's Keystone Canyon. That's Keystone Canyon on the way to Valdez. There's a 3-mile section of road that they say when it's raining, there's over 70 different waterfalls that exist in that 3-mile stretch. Keep going. Okay. Yeah, you don't, anybody from California? Yeah, you don't, Caltrans don't have these kind of signs. Bears in the area. This is on what's called Dayville Road. This is on the north side of Prince William Sound. People probably, anybody know what Prince William Sound is famous for? There you go. Who said that? There you go. Exxon Valdez. Okay. And on the front, at the end of Dayville Road, there's 2 things of interest, which is why the bears are in the area. Number 1 is a bear buffet, also known as a salmon hatchery. Okay. And just past it is the termination of the pipeline. And on the hill are, I think, about a half a dozen of these giant tanks that they fill from the pipeline, and then they pump them into the ships, and they take it off to Tacoma for processing. That's the way it works. And it's all protected by the Defense Department. Okay, next. And you can see in the background there's some unlicensed fishermen. There they are, pesky little fellows. They're hoping to catch a little bit of that salmon. And this is the docks in Valdez. Yeah, they have a fishing derby, and they'll clean all your stuff, take you out. You can go out on a half-day boat, a full day, a couple day, whatever, and they'll clean it, fillet it, pack it, ship it, wrap it, the whole thing for you. All it takes is that acronym for BMW. Bring more wampum. Okay, Edgerton Highway, let's go. Anybody know what that is? Who likes salmon? Anybody like salmon? Who likes red salmon? This is where all red salmon come from. This is the Copper River Reds. Pavement ends. Now we're going to go out to, anybody know what that is? Yeah, you guys are smart. You have to be an indigenous person to have a license to operate this on the Copper River, but it sits in there and it's the current spins the wheel, it scoops salmon out, puts it into a holding tank, and the people come and get them. Next. This is the pedestrian bridge at the end of the McCarthy Road, which is how you get to the place that you want to go if you're going to experience Wrangell St. Elias. Okay, and it's the mine. I'm going to Kennecott, exactly. Anybody, you been there? The Kennecott? Yeah. Is it awesome or what? Yeah, see, I told them to go. Anyway, it's not to be missed. It's a mine that is the site of the richest copper strike in mining history. It was played out. There was a consortium of the Guggenheims and the Morgans. They formed they had a railroad they were building. It was called the Copper River Northwest Territories Railroad. The locals nicknamed it the Can't Run, Never Will Railroad. And in spite of that mine operated until the early 20s, 24, I think. And they literally disassembled steamships and carried them across the mountains and reassembled them on the other side and stuff in there. When you go up there, it's a reclamation project of the National Park Service along with a consortium of mining companies in Alaska and Canada. And the Kennecott Mining Company still exists to this day. It has other holdings, but it was extremely lucrative. Anyway, it's worth, you got to ride all the way to Chitina, then it's a 60-mile gravel road. Well, it's chip seal now, it's almost paved, but back in the day we used to slug through the mud. But that's it. And on the left is the Root Glacier, and on the right is the Kennecott Glacier. They dug holes in the hills, in the mines, and they brought the ore down by tram to the top of that. It was a gravity feed mine. And by the way, you can see this is typical. On the left is the way the buildings were. On the right is partial reconstruction. And this is about 6 years ago, this slide. And it's amazing what the progress they've made because they use all local stuff. They only do it during the summer and they employ a lot of people. Go ahead. This is the town of McCarthy that served as the town for the mine. That's the old cemetery on McCarthy Road, the old wagon trail. This is actually on the other side of Wrangell St. Elias, which you have to access completely differently, and this is an old gold mine. Denali Highway. Pavement ends. Okay, the Denali Highway is a 110-mile gravel road that starts in Paxson and runs west to Cantwell, which is, this is the original way to get into Denali National Park. Before the Parks Highway existed, this is how they accessed it. If you're going to go there, I suggest you go to Glen Allen, ride north on the Richardson, and ride the Denali Highway from the east to the west. And the reason is, if you do that and you happen to catch one of those bluebird days, not only will you have a view of Denali your whole ride, but the lakes that dot will have reflections of Denali, and it's just spectacular, spectacular. And it's not uncommon that if you pull off and stop and spend some time on the side of the road and just be quiet for a while, if you look out across the tundra, you'll see a herd of migrating caribou, and you can watch them just jump from little pool to pool and go on. I mean, thousands of them. Anyway, next. This is the Susitna River Valley, one of the most magical places on the face of the earth to me. I've never not gone there when I was in Alaska. It's been a while for me, but a couple of years. But I love it there. Go ahead.
What's the name of it again?
Susitna River Valley. This is the Susitna River, and that's the bridge across the Susitna River. I got a long story about that bridge, but I'll wait.
What is the typical riding season? What month or what?
Very good question. Depending on how hardy you are, you can ride from mid-May through second week of September. That being said, you can get yourself in a little trouble late in May or early in September. It just kind of depends. I've been up there and it's been 80 degrees on September 15th, and you can ride all the time. It just, it's like anywhere else. You're kind of at the, but typically June through August. I like August because there's less of two of the worst pests there are known to man. Huh? Mosquitoes and RVs. Okay, next. This is the Denali Highway before they chip sealed it. This is some of our camping stuff. This is on one of our backcountry explorer trips. We had a place we stayed all the time, and this is part of those backcountry explorers. Hey, you want to see Alaska? We'll show you. There's our famous founder. I asked him, Phil, what happened? He told me he saw a quarter laying on the road, on the trail. I think he lost the quarter. This is why we ride. That's the Alaska mountain range. This is on the Denali Highway, and you will not see this any place else quite in that same, just that environment. It's magical. Keep going. Oh, yeah, I guess that's the last one. Okay, now, oh, wow, whoa, the high Higway, the Dalton Higway. Look at there, the Hall Road. Right, we're going to go up the Higway. Runs from just outside of Fairbanks all the way to Prudhoe Bay. Most of it is chip seal. The truckers prefer it. Anybody been up the Dalton? I know Tom has. You have? Okay. Depending on when you go, it can be extremely easy and delightful, or it can be absolutely miserable, okay? If it rains, and you're going to get wet conditions, even if it isn't raining, because there's 2 seasons in Alaska, only 2. They're winter and construction, okay? So the state will drop chip seal, spread it with a grader. You'll go down the road, and in the middle of the road, there'll be a mound of gravel 2.5 feet tall, a mile long, and you won't even see it because it blends into the existing road surface, okay? You've got to be on your toes all the time on the Dalton. There are literally, what do you call them? Potholes big enough to flip a small GS. If you just don't watch what you're doing and you run completely into it, it'll flip you over. So you got to be careful. The truckers, they don't care about motorcycles. And if you're passing a truck, especially if he's making a run to get up Ice Cut Hill and you're coming down the other side, you move to the right and you tuck your head and keep it low, because there'll be stones that come off of that thing that'll take you off your bike, okay? So you just have to be careful all the time. Okay, there's man's pipe. More to pipeline. Can't tell you how slick this is. Sodium chloride. If you want to know how slick this is, It's like go down to your local ice rink, smear some bear grease on a turn, and then try to make a couple hot laps on a GS and see how that works out. And it might be as slick as this stuff gets. All right? I've been on this stuff when you can't stand up. Your feet just, okay? Okay, next. Arctic Circle. You can get a little certificate that says you crossed the Arctic Circle. The government, that's part of the government. Our government work, yeah. This is the beginning of Adigan Pass. That is Adigan Pass. So is that. Can't tell you how slick that is. If you back up one, please. You see that glaze? You get in that and you're going for a ride, all right. Okay, next. That's why the guy's on the peg, by the way. And all so you can get up there and see this. This is it, pretty much. Next slide. Jethro, you can't, that brings up a good point. If you're riding up to Prudhoe yourself, carry gas if you're on a big GS, and if you're on a little GS, carry a lot of gas because the tanks are smaller, all right? If you got an adventure and you catch a completely dry day, you might make it, right? It's 248 miles between Coldfoot Camp and Prudhoe, the next gas station in Prudhoe. There's 2 pump stations. One is closed, the other one operates, and they might, if you're bleeding and you're laying on their fence, shaking it, they might come out. Maybe. So we carry this, gas. This is Yukon River Camp, or as we refer to it as Yukon Prison Camp. Okay. This is one of those places, like I told you, that ranges from luxurious to disappointing. This is just the other side of the Yukon River, $220-something a night, so you can get a room in an old construction trailer that's got one central heating flue down the center, and there's a bathroom at either end. That's the luxurious stuff. Next. This brings up a really good point. The one thing good about Yukon Prison Camp, they have water. If you're riding a GS, especially a water-cooled GS, you want to take advantage of that water. And what you're going to do with it is you're going to get that calcium chloride out of your radiator things and your brakes. You'll lose your brakes if you don't. Literally lose them. They will grind down to nothing. The first time you touch them, they won't retract, and they will just grind down to nothing, okay? Unless you carry water. We carry, not only do we use this, but we have a couple of those old style extinguishers that you pump, and anyway, go ahead. You can't go to the Arctic Ocean without going through a system up there because, again, it's monitored by the Defense Department. So they have tours there's a couple of different places. We actually use the one at, what's the name of that place? Something camp. Yeah. Anyway. No hand for you. Yeah, no hand for me. But anyway, so you got to get cleared to go, and they put you on a little bus and run you out there. Can't tell you how cold that water is. And then, the bus ticket's like $10, and if you want the certificate with, your smiling face on it, that's another $25. But you can hang it on your office. Go ahead. And this is the tourist attraction. This is what you see when you get to Prudhoe. That's all there is. Go ahead. That and this. Can't tell you how cold that is. All right, motorcycle, okay, make sure your motorcycle chain's loose enough to accommodate. Wash the motorcycle, calcium chloride dries like ceramic. clear mud for moving parts, brake, we went already over that. Take at least 6 days riding from Anchorage to Prudhoe and back if you're to be safe. You can do it quicker, but okay, next. Oh, winter, 2 seasons. What are they? There we go. When to go to Alaska? Yeah, all right, we did that. Go ahead. Why so much construction? Anybody see what that is? There you go. Otherwise, if you're a motocross fan, these would be stadium jumps. And you know when they're bad is when about a half a mile before you get there, if you look off to the right and there's a camper off the road, you know to slow down. Okay. Road construction reality. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this because this kind of gets into the planning stages what we were talking earlier. If you're planning to go up there, it's good to do route planning and figure out where your stops are going to be. It's also good to call ahead to make sure they're still open and they're accommodating and they want you. That being said, you have no control over the road construction. It's not uncommon to be stopped on the road for an hour to 2, sometimes 3, waiting for a pilot car because they're blasting or doing whatever, or putting in a culvert or putting in a railroad crossing, whatever. I'm just saying, it's because there's only 4 major thoroughfares, arteries up there, they're constantly working on them, and because of the extreme conditions of frost heaves, the freezing and the thawing and the constant stuff, they're constantly working. And they're constantly perfecting their technique, by the way. It used to be they tried to pave the Dalton and they gave up because the truckers finally, because the potholes in asphalt are worse than chip seal, right? For drivers. They finally have figured out, here's what they do. The last about 80 miles into Prudhoe is now paved and it's good asphalt. You still got to watch for an occasional pothole, but not as bad as what it used to be. And what they do is they've learned, they dig down, they scrape the ground 6 feet. They put 2 feet of road bed, right? Then they put a layer of styrofoam, 2-inch thick, 40 feet sheets that they lay down, put 2 more feet of aggregate over that, then a layer of polyethylene, and then they pave it. That's what stays down. I can't tell you how much that costs a foot, much less a mile. Anyway, next. Yeah, so, back up one more time, please. Okay, this is a very good, if you are going and you do get caught on construction, filter to the front. Go to the front of the line. The construction people want you to do that. And the reason is motorcyclists can get through stuff that cars can't, and they are watching when the pilot car first takes off. They're a little more attentive to that first group coming through. If a guy has a problem, they would just as soon run out and pick you back up, or his buddies do, and get you on your way, rather than doing it in the middle of a line of cars and they're all over the place again. So they prefer you to filter to the front. Some of the drivers don't realize that and they may not be happy about it, but the construction people do and the cops know it. Next. State bird. Actually, that's not the state bird. We're going to, what is that? That is a ptarmigan, and that's the state bird of Alaska. There's a little town called Chicken at the border, on the top of the World Highway between Canada and Alaska, and they wanted to name it after the state bird, but they couldn't spell ptarmigan, so they just called it Chicken. True story. Okay. Okay, let's talk about mosquitoes. It's a misnomer up there that mosquitoes are horrible, unless you're within 72 hours of a fresh hatch. I will tell you this about mosquitoes. They are attracted to heat, okay? When you get up and you're riding, either on the way or while you're there, and you have to take a little roadside break, if you know what I mean, the way to do that is to keep your helmet, gloves on, your jacket on, get off your motorcycle, run 25, 30 feet to the front, then take your helmet off, do your business. The mosquitoes will be all over your motorcycle. Leave your motorcycle running too, by the way. Be all over your motorcycle. You can tinkle and get back in time before they figure out that you aren't that motorcycle, and then you just get on and take off. Now that's practical experience, and I'm just telling you it works. Okay. Yeah, we recommend a full face helmet. We recommend that the same way they recommend you, when you jump out of an airplane, you pull the cord. It's the same type of suggestion. Okay, next. Date, that's what you want. Some more, that's the Susitna River. I don't know why we got pictures of Hondas wheeling, but we do. Bears in the valley, okay. Black and brown bears are attracted in interesting scents in very large groups. Polar bears, do not even attempt to fool with a polar bear. A polar bear is the only carnivore in the food chain that'll stick its nose in the air and go, oh, a human, I think I'll hunt him down and eat him. They will hunt you aggressively. Okay. Oh yeah, they have no fear. They have no fear of humans and find us tasty. Okay, don't fool with polar bears. By the way, when you get to Prudhoe, which is the only place you really encounter polars in Alaska, they're protected, and if they're spotted, they shut down operations, and they have like a half-mile circumference. You can't get any closer than that to them. So. And that's a good thing for you, trust me. Okay. Now this guy, I had a conversation with him. That's me driving the truck. I was coming up for the season, and he and I had a talk, and we decided we were both heading north for the tourists. So, and they hit, yeah. Anyway, that's in Yukon. Yeah. Those are the guys you know on a fool. They're not the cute little things in a Coca-Cola commercial. See? What you up to in there? There he is. Huh? If you see, he's just the right height to catch your light in your windshield. You, on the other hand, you're gonna look like Hopalong Cassidy going over the top of him. Go ahead. There he is. There it is. Traveler's insurance. Tools, tires, and riding gear. By the way, if you are coming, if you are going to take a tour with us in Alaska, or if you are coming up to rent from us, which, by the way, I'll just give you, many guys that are adventure riders, they all have a dream of riding to Alaska, riding around, coming home. My experience is those well-intentioned guys that are not professional riders, they'll take time, and by the time they get to Alaska, all they're concerned about is what it's going to take to get back home. And they literally miss why they came. I'm just giving you 25 years of practical experience here. If you do come to rent from us, we'll help you with route stuff. If you just want to go by yourself or a couple buddies, we'll show you where to go, how to go, and where to stay. We do that kind of consultation with people all the time. The other thing that we'll do is don't drag all your gear, put it in a box and mail it to us. We won't even open it. It'll just be up in the rafters when you get there, and we'll just give you your own box. You unbox your gear, take off, go riding, do what you want to do, come back, box it back up, and we'll send it back to you. Yes, sir.
With regard to the non-professional that wants to go up there, ride around, ride back, what would be the best time to, say, leave the lower 48, some northern state in the lower 48s?
June 1st. Yeah, maybe the last week in May.
Okay.
Somewhere in that area. Okay, what else we got? Checklist, necessary insurance, route plan, roadside assistance, tires, wear and tear parts, support vehicles, support guide. Well, that's with our stuff. Medevac, that's the other thing we give you when you sign a tour. We're going to make sure. If you sign up on a guided, supported tour, we have one goal. That is that you come, see what you should see, have fun, and get home safely. That's it. If we pull that off, we've done what we're supposed to. We do have sat phones. That's another thing. If you're going to go to Prudhoe, you can rent a sat phone in Anchorage. I recommend you do that. First aid kits, and with us, it's a welcome and farewell dinner. Next. Okay. Who lives north of Nashville? Okay, so you guys are familiar with winter, all right? So instead of getting that floppy hat on and those gloves for that snowblower, come ride Baja with us in January and February, because it's summer there, and the whales are calving. Our Baja, and I'm going to show you a couple of slides of those terrible Mexican accommodations down there. Let's go. We start out actually in Long Beach, and we ride the back roads of Orange County and then get into the San Diego County mountains, and we don't cross the border at San Ysidro because we go to Tecate, where you can get across and back. Go ahead. That's Lookout Roadhouse, okay. That's Lake Elsinore. This is a Baja restaurant. This is the roads in Baja, pretty good. Again, that's the Sea of Cortez. You've got the Atlantic the Pacific on the right and the Sea of Cortez on the left. There's plenty of little places to stop along the Sea of Cortez, and it's absolutely magical. Go ahead. There's the roads, motorcycles, more Sea of Cortez, some terrible accommodations. Those Mexicans, I can't hardly stand them. Yeah, some more. Just terrible place to be, especially in February when it's like -6 where you live. That's Mama Espinosa's. That's one of the stops for the Baja 1000. Oh, yeah, there it is. There's Jethro down at this end of the world. It's our support vehicle. Actually, it's been retired last year, I think, a year before maybe. Some more horrible accommodations. Sea of Cortez, roads are great. Nobody on them. I have that slide. This is at Bahia de Los Angeles. I have this slide here because someday I'm going to buy that ambulance so I can be like the Ghostbusters guys. Again, terrible accommodations. Japan. Who's been to Japan? You like it? Yeah. Our founder, Phil Freeman, never rode a motorcycle before until he was in Japan as a foreign exchange student. And then he went back and taught English in Hokkaido for years. He's a member of the BMW Flat Twin Club of Japan, which is a very prestigious club there. We do probably more Japan trips than anybody else that does what we do. And it's because Phil speaks Japanese like a Japanese person. And we actually have a few guides that are like that. But we do, actually, we've got a new one coming up. We're going to do an extended from one end of Japan to the other coming up in about, I think 6 months or something. But anyway, there's a trip called the Three Island Tour. It stays south of all the major cities. It goes to Honshu, Kyushu, and Shikoku. And we go there during the Cherry Blossom Festival. Every night we spend in what's called a ryokan, which is a Japanese traveler's inn. Every one of them has a natural mineral hot springs associated with it. And the place that we stay the second night on that tour has been a continuously operating traveler's inn in Japan since the year 602. I think they had change of management, but I'm not sure about that. But at any rate, the point is that stuff that is history to us is current events to those people. They have terraced tea gardens 10 times older than our country, okay? And it's a magnificent place to go. Let's go see some of them. That's the Black Castle in Okayama. That's where one of the festivals for the cherry blossom starts. That's one of those terraced tea gardens right there. This is part of Hokkaido. Oh, that's all I got in Japan. Anybody rode Peru? I'm going to tell you this. If you're a serious motorcyclist, don't go to your grave until you ride Peru. I've ridden there about 8 times and would go back again. The infrastructure, the road surfaces are the best of anywhere I've ever been, and there's nobody on them. You can ride 5 hours of unspoiled Pacific Coast shoreline on the Pan American Highway, and with 1,000-year-old cactuses growing 100 yards from the shore break, and in that stretch of ground through the Atacama Desert and the Sacred Valley, and in that stretch of road, you'll pass maybe 15 trucks and 8 or 10 cars. And if the cops stop you in Peru, they just want to look at your bike and they want to see how fast it goes. Okay? So you go up there and you go to a place called Puerto Inca, which is where the Incas fished the Pacific, and then they ran the fish. It's an old ruins. They ran it 300 miles uphill to the town of Cuzco in the Andes and delivered it to the king. That's back when it was good to be king of something, right? So they Pony Expressed it 300 miles up to Cuzco. You go up to Cuzco, which is a world-class city still today, and they have the Plaza de Armas, and it's a big square. On one end is the government's cannons, and the other side is the Catholic Church that's a little overbuilt, in my opinion. And then you can go to, what's the name's, that Triumph, what is that? Triumph Tavern. Well, what was that? Anyway. And then from Cuzco, you leave Cuzco and you're 14,000 feet up in the Andes. You go down to a little town called Ollantaytambo, which is basically a museum itself. You get on a narrow gauge railroad for 45 minutes. You come to a little town called Agua Caliente, and then you have a choice. You can walk or pay $3 to take an air-conditioned bus, Mercedes-Benz bus, up the hill to Machu Picchu. And then we spend a complete day at Machu Picchu. Anybody been to Machu Picchu? I mean, it's probably one of the most if you sit there and look at what they did, and you figured out that these people, their quarrying tactics back then were to take a big rock, take a little rock and a bigger rock, pound a hole in the big rock to where they put a stick wrapped in leaves, and they would roll it into the sun until it bust. And if you take a look at what they built with those quarrying techniques, It's mind-boggling. And I'm a Walter Mitty kind of guy. I always try to think what it was like if you'd been there. I was sitting there looking at this stuff, and I was looking at this keystone on this arch, right? Because they even have plumbing and stuff through the ground. And I'm thinking to myself, so if I'm the guy that's running that crew that's putting that keystone arch in, and I'm like, you know, I'm in the 11th and a half hour, and the guy comes down from up top and says, King says, man, we're out of here in the morning. We're all going to the fucking Amazon. Oh, excuse me. we're all going to the Amazon. We're out of here. I'm like, wait, whoa. Anyway, it's that kind of place. So let's go real quick. This is the Plaza de Armas. That's the Catholic Church in Cusco. This is the roads. They meander. By the way, they spend lots of money on the infrastructure roads there because they moved gold, silver, copper, and fruit and vegetables. Lots. Go ahead. That is Machu Picchu. It's spectacular, indescribable. That's the same slide. There you go. That's actually the Pacific. That's the beginning of the road leading up to Machu Picchu. Up to Cusco, actually. Next. That's it? That's it. We're done. Anybody got any questions? Wow. The Dempster is more challenging than the Dalton, especially these days. And the reason it's more dangerous is there's a lot less services that you can access or get yourself out of trouble, yet you can get yourself into trouble quicker on the Dempster.